Hi class 10, this is the first part of transport. So I think all of you are able to understand the second part. The first part of transport based on railways and roadways, just like the previous slides, go through the syllabus. So you already know that waste management is completed, and in transport we have also completed airways and waterways in the previous class. And while today we'll be looking into roadways and railways. Okay, how does road and rail help us? To be honest, it helps us in many ways. So this can also be termed as how does transportation help us, but these points which I'm going to explain is more detailedly or connected more towards roadways and railways. Number one, it links backward areas with developed towns and cities. If there's no roads or railway, towns or small villages will not be connected to big cities. X helps in industrialization, growth, and urbanization, removes lack of goods during crisis, brings different cultures together, unity within a diverse country like ours. For people to live in unity in different cultures, there needs to be good transport, better utilization of resources, help disaster. So those are the points. The last point, helping areas affected by disaster, doesn't apply all the time, but when disasters hit, transportation is the biggest help for people through roadways, through railways, through airways. So many ways in which people help each other through transportation during disasters. So we'll start with the first slide. You can see this picture. This is a symbol or an emblem of NHAI, which is National Highway Authorities of India. So we'll just take a brief understanding of what it is. It was started in 1988. This organization, it focused on three main things: development of roads, maintenance of roads, management of roads. Not just small roads. Every single road which goes through the country is in one way or the other connected to NHAI. It has a network of 33 lakh kilometers, second largest network of roads in the world. India is the second largest road network in the world, which is done by NHAI. It includes both paved, or in other words called tar roads, and unpaved roads or not metalled or not put any tar. It is categorized into many subdivisions. The biggest one is national highways, then you have state highways, then you have major district roads, and the last one being rural roads and other roads. Okay. The State Public Works Department (PWD) and Border Road Organization (BRO) help in maintain organizational and national highways. So the national highways, which is the highest under this category, is also done and worked. The two more organizations which help are Public Works Department and Border Road Organization. Even though all of this is done in our country, we have the second biggest road network. We have all these divisions, and NHAI has been working for now 38 or 32 years. Still 40% of India villages lack connectivity and are totally isolated from bigger cities. Among the roads, there are other terms. National highways and state highways were some terms which we learned. Highways, freeways, expressways, all these are new terms or terms which you have heard, but we'll discuss what it is. So the new terms, the first one and the most common one is highway. Highway is a public road which connects multiple cities. So when you're going from one city to another, without going through the detailed population and the urbanized, highly trafficked areas, you can go from one place to another through a highway. What about a freeway? Freeway is a part of the highway which has two or more lanes, but it has no tolls and no intersections. So when you go through highway, there are sometimes smaller roads which connect to the highway from nearby villages, or when the highway passes through from one place to another. But in a freeway, there's no connecting roads, no intersections, no tolls, no stoppings. It's just fast, free road, and that's why it's also called an expressway. It is mainly designed for high-speed vehicular traffic. Only cars and public buses are allowed to go through these freeways. Because it's at a really high speed, every vehicle is going, no cycles or even two-wheelers are allowed to go through freeways, and also trucks which carry cargo is also, or load is also not allowed to pass through freeways. There are only two major freeways, not just two only freeways, but two major freeways like Eastern Freeway and Western Freeway in our country. Another important term is parkway. Parkway is just a beautifully decorated road which is also used as a. This is a common picture which you have seen in Mumbai. It is Bandra Worli Sea Link Western Freeway. So this is a western freeway of 56 kilometers. You can see that in this road of 5.6 kilometers, there is no stopping, no tolls, no speed breakers, no checkposts. It's just no intersections, direct connection of free, fast flowing traffic of 5.6. Okay. Next are two important projects of NHAI. One is Golden Quadrilateral. You can see from the picture there's a golden diamond. It connects Bangalore, Kolkata, Mumbai, and New Delhi. So these are the places which are connected. Hyderabad is not connected. The yellow portion or the yellow diamond in the center is called Golden Quadrilateral. So it is the largest expressway project in India. It connects four corners of India, four metro cities of Kolkata, Delhi, Chennai, and Mumbai forms a quadrilateral. Pune, Bangalore, Surat, Ahmedabad is also connected by this network. It was completed in 2012, and the amount of money invested was quite a lot for Golden Quadrilateral because it had to connect all important cities or major cities. 60,000 crores was spent on this. It connects major cities and ports, enables industrial growth, small towns through which it passes also gets industrialized, boosts the import and export of the country, provides impetus for truck transport, which means it helps the transportation through trucks. Second one is NSNEW, or also called North-South Corridor or East-West Corridor. North-South Corridor is the brown line which is connecting Srinagar to Kanyakumari, which is the vertical distance, and East-West Corridor you can see that it connects uh, Porbandar in Gujarat to Silchar in Assam, which is 3,640 kilometers. The green line which goes from east to west, from west to east, anyway you can say. So these are two corridors, north south and east west corridors, and you have to know the starting point, the ending point, and the distance. The north south corridor is much more longer, and then the east west corridor. So Golden Quadrilateral and the corridors of India are the two important projects of NHAI. Next, the most common important road which we travel, highways. So this is a common representation of highway numbering. The highway numbering has changed in our country many times. So this is a common numbering which is done where the blue lines indicate even numbers while the red lines indicate odd numbers. But there are still controversies regarding this NH numbering, renumbering of NH, and it has been changed again, I guess. So as of the earlier given output, it is mentioned that the blue lines are lines which are connecting vertical regions or from north to south regions, and it is having even numbers, and the red lines are east west. It is having red lines, which is odd numbering. Connecting major cities that act as the backbone of country's transport maintained by central government. Each highway is designated as NH followed by the state highway number. Example NH7, 770 km from Varanasi to Kanyakumari. Handle 40% of India's road traffic. It is classified into two types based on width. A single lane highway will have 3.75 meters in width, while a multi-lane highway will have 3.5 meters of each lane, which means if there is two lanes, 3.5 plus 3.5, you have 7 meters in width. But if it's just one lane, it should be just 3.75 meters and not less than that. So there are some important methods used by NHAI, National Highway Authority of India, for free traffic and no hindrances. These are the methods used. Widening roads. You can see in many places, even near Premnagar, we can see that the roads have been widened, and that's helping in reducing traffic. Flyovers, which is a bridge-like structure which has a very highly smoothened road above another road structure, which is a flyover. Grade separation is one term which you haven't or which you wouldn't have heard. Very common is also like a flyover where different modes of transportation takes place. For example, there's water where ship travels, and above that there's a bridge where roadways or vehicles travel, and above that there is a railway track where a train moves, and near that there is another runway. So there are many kinds of transportation taking place within the same area. So if there is an airport runway, a railway track, a bridge under which a ship is also moving, so different kinds of transportation taking place around the same junction, that is called grade separation. Then you have bypasses where you can cut through or bypass an important place and go around a place is also looking like a highway. Then you have bridges and you have railroad crossing, which you guys have seen very commonly. And these are the methods used by. What are the express highways? So express highways, as we learned, are another words called expressway, and these doesn't have any checkposts, it doesn't have speed breakers, it doesn't have any other intersections where the speed of the vehicle will be reduced. It has 6 to 8 lanes, enters and exits is controlled by slip roads or smaller roads along the sides from the expressway will go in the side and it will join towards the neighboring village. So it is exited and entered by slip roads designed for high speed smooth movement without any obstruction. There are many examples, Agra Lucknow Expressway 302, and you can go through the other examples as well. State highways, constructed and maintained by state government and not by the central government, connects a national highway, a district headquarter, important towns, tourist centers, and minor ports. Length of 1,32,000 km all around the country. Only 4% of the total road length of the country falls under the category of state highways. So when you go from one state to another, it's a national highway. When you travel from one important city to another important city within the state, it is a state highway. What about district roads? Much more smaller than state highways. You have district roads, and district roads connect within the district markets, towns, highways, connects taluk headquarters and district headquarters, and important parts of the city goes through a police station, a post office, press, and all other important parts of a city will be connected. And these are the most important kind of roads which should be improved, rural roads in villages and underdeveloped places, where 80% of India's road length belongs to rural roads. Even though we boast a lot about India's development in roadways, 80% of India's road length is still rural. Most are sand roads, help in transporting agricultural production, grains, small scale industries, marketing centers. There is a Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, uh, which was a rule implemented by the Prime Minister. It was initiated in 2000, December 2000. It was used to eradicate poverty and improve education and improve health and hygiene. All these things were the focus, and it was done using starting to lay roads towards villages and underdeveloped places. Next is border road organizations. When we were discussing earlier, I told that there were two organizations called PWD, Public Works Department, and BRO, Border Road Organization, which helps in constructing border roads and the highways also. So these are roads which are connecting or bordering India and other countries, set up by Border Road Organization in 1960 to improve and strengthen defense, set along the northern and eastern boundary of India. The world's highest road from Manali to Leh at 4,270 meters in the world is constructed by Border Road Organizations. It also helps in construction of bridges, buildings, airfield, and clearing the snow in snow-peak areas. These are two examples: Leh Manali Highway, and there are a lot of passes, Karakoram Pass and Natula Pass, all these important passes in our country from Sikkim or Uttarakhand, some passes are there, Himachal Pradesh, some passes are there, Jammu and Kashmir, Karakoram Pass we have. So all these passes at high elevated regions are constructed by Border Road Organization because it's close to the border of India. Two examples are given here, you can just go through it. And the most important part, advantages and disadvantages. Every village can be reached, constructed even in difficult terrain, help in agriculture, link railway station to port, or one mode of transport to another mode of transport can be connected by roadways. A track cannot connect a road and a port. A water body cannot connect a railway station and a bus stop. But a road can connect railway station and a port, or an airport and railway station. Roadways is the only mode of transport which can connect two different kinds of transportation means. It is cheaper than railway, that's also an advantage, but there are some disadvantages. There are many checkposts, and there are toll taxing which is taken place during roadways. There are many roads which are not good. Unsurfaced roadways are bad for the vehicle, bad for the people who are traveling. Poor safety measures, traffic jam, accidents, all these are common disadvantages. Takes more time also, and many people are uncomfortable to travel on roadways. Moving into the next part, uses, business, tourism, education, trade, pilgrimage. Pilgrimage is when we go to any shrine or temple or mosque or any religious place. Many people travel through trains, and that's pilgrimage. Then The first time it was introduced in 1953 from Mumbai to Thane, covering just 34. Now it covers more than 7,137 stations at 66,030 kilometers. This is one of the most important and most known point of Indian Railways, which is the second point. Indian Railways is the world's largest employer, which means when you look at the organizations, government organizations or private organizations, not just in India but the whole world, the single organization where the most number of people are working, if you have to tell just the number of people working, the organization which holds the record of the most number of people working goes to Indian Railways, and that's actually a very big achievement because handling 1.4 million employees, giving them salary, handling them, giving them their job, and it is very difficult, very extremely difficult. But Indian Railways is the world's largest organization, or the world's largest I mean, job sector where people work, and 1.4 million people work there. Operate both long distance and suburban railways, but long distance have more coaches, suburban railways has lesser coaches. The picture you see on the bottom right is actually suburban railways, where Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, Delhi have separate suburban tracks, while Hyderabad, Pune, Lucknow share the long distance tracks as well. Transportation of 18 million passengers, more than 2 million tons of freight or load. Carry goods like mineral ores, petrochemicals, agro-based iron and steel. You would have seen a lot of trains travel through or move through a country with petrol or liquid goods or solid goods being transported. Important part of this railways is railway zones. There are 17 railway zones in a. You can pause this slide and you can see through the railway zones. Northern Railway, Northeastern Railway, Northeast Frontier Railway, Eastern Railway, Southeastern Railway, South Central Railway. So you have to know at least 5 to 10 important railway zones. What about the track system? This is also an important part. The track system can be divided into three parts: broad gauge, meter gauge, and narrow gauge. Broad gauge is majority of Indian railways is covered by broad gauge. Then you have meter gauge is slightly thinner, and narrow gauge is the thinnest or the narrowest. So the broadest one, broad gauge, is 1.67 meters in breadth. Then meter gauge you have 1 meter in breadth, and narrow gauge less than 1 meter, between 0.610 meters and 0.762 meters in length. The majority of in India is covered by broad gauge, which is 70%. You can look at the picture rather than the details written in words because picture is having a better understanding. And 23% is covered by meter gauge. So 70 plus 23 is 93, remaining 7% by narrow gauge. An important, very important part of Indian Railways is also the Konkan route, which is along the western coast of Gujarat, Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka, and Kerala, which is one of, not one of the most beautiful rail route in our country. The broad gauge rail line along the western coast of India from Roha in Maharashtra to Mangalore in Karnataka. The Konkan coast cuts through 146 rivers, 2000 bridges, and 91 tunnels. It is one of the most beautiful rail routes in the world. And if you want to look at it in India, I don't think there's anything more beautiful than the Konkan route. Karnataka, Goa, Maharashtra states in the Konkan route. So these are some amazing pictures taken through the Konkan route train travel. Those were amazing pictures and beautiful information about the Konkan route. This is also a good known point in Indian railways, where Nagpur, which is the center of India, geographical center, is where all the four direction trains from north to south and from east to west meet at a junction, and it's called Nagpur Yard Diamond Crossing. This is where the railways of India, north to south and east to west, meet at a junction. You also have advantages and disadvantages for railways. Advantages are it is efficient, cost-effective transportation of people and goods at large scale compared to roadways, and at a lower cost. Help during calamities, development of rural areas, easy movement of police and defense. Because you see, army people and police and defense group from one place to another mostly go in trains rather than in buses or trucks. More comfortable journey than roadways. Many people would agree with that. Disadvantages: lacks flexibility of routes, cannot be constructed in every, for example, a mountain or a hill. can't be constructed in every place. Very long and tedious, long distances compared to aircraft. Sometimes still run on coal, producing noise and air pollution. Need to reconstruct or need to construct more expensive bridges over water bodies. So these are all some disadvantages of railways. So this is extra information. This is another form of technology which is being implemented in our country and in other countries also. It is called Hyperloop. If this is implemented, this will be the fastest mode of transport in the world. When I mean fastest, it means faster than aeroplane also. I'm repeating it, faster than aeroplane also. So it's called Hyperloop. It's the most advanced mode of transport. It is proposed, it is not finalized. It is designed by engineer, and the one who invented it is Elon Musk, and he belongs to the team Tesla. He also started off the Tesla group, which produced a lot of cars, and now he's inventing he's started to work with the Hyperloop. It has started his test launching in Dubai, and it has been starting from Mumbai to Pune in our country, and they are putting a lot of project efforts to develop this. Look at the speed. It can reach an unprecedented, which means nothing has even touched the speed in history. Unprecedented means it will be the first time any moving vehicle is going to reach that speed. It can reach an unprecedented speed of 1223 kilometer per hour. That's faster than a flight. India started the project of a hyperloop between Mumbai and Pune, which is 100 miles apart. So we know that every mile is almost 1.6 kilometers. So 100 miles will be 160 kilometers. 160 kilometers, and it can reach in 35 minutes. So if you divide 160 kilometers by minutes, if you convert minutes into hours and then divide 160 kilometers by that time duration, you will get the speed at which it will be moving, and it will be almost 900 to 1000 kilometers per hour. So that's an incredible speed which can be produced. Or so we have some more information. It's just a capsule with passengers. It has vacuum tube inside and creates a low pressure, and that vacuum low pressure sucks the tube through that vacuum pressure belt. So in the last slide of these railways and roadways, you'll be watching a definition and detailed explanation of how the hyperloop is working. So this is an extra information. I hope you understood and were able to go through roadways and railways just like airways and waterways.
Elon Musk's revolutionary transit system, the Hyperloop, is proving to be the future of travel. But how exactly does it work? From its tube track design, it's easy to assume that the Hyperloop would operate like the vacuum tubes at bank drive-thrus or old mailroom systems. However, it has 4 key features that set it apart from these vacuum tubes in high-speed train tracks. The passenger capsules aren't propelled by air pressure like in vacuum tubes, but by electromagnetic motors, similar to ones featured in Tesla cars and railguns. It's aimed to travel at a top speed of 760 miles per hour, rocketing between Los Angeles and San Francisco in around a half hour. The tube tracks do have a vacuum, but they're not completely free of air. Instead, they have low-pressure air inside of them. Most things moving through air tubes will end up compressing the air in front, thus creating a cushion of air that slows the object down. But the Hyperloop will feature a compressor fan in the front of the capsule. The compressor fan can redirect air to the back of the capsule for additional propulsion, but mostly the air will be sent to the air bearings. They're ski-like paddles that levitate the capsules above the surface of the tube to reduce friction. The tube track is designed to be immune to weather and earthquakes. It's also designed to be self-powering and unobstructive. The pillars raising the tubes above the ground have a small footprint and can sway in the case of an earthquake. Each of the tube sections can move around flexibly if the terrain shifts because there isn't a constant track that the capsules rely on, and solar panels on the top of the track supply power to the periodic motors. With these innovations and a completely automated departure system, Elon Musk dreams of the Hyperloop being the fastest, safest, and most convenient form of travel in the world.